And welcome to the conference. I'm Dr. Andrea Edmundson, the CEO of eWorld Learning, Inc. I am pleased to be invited to speak to you, and I wish I could be there with you in person to discuss this interesting and important topic of intercultural competence in project management. About myself, I have a doctoral degree in educational technology and more than 20 years of cross-cultural experience in business and education. I have lived and worked in Africa, Europe, Asia, and the Pacific Islands. On a personal note, I have not had the pleasure of working in Germany, but I was born in Wisconsin and I do love a good beer. Today, I have been invited to address the cross-cultural challenges that you may encounter in project management with Americans. However, at the end of the presentation, I will answer a few questions. In addition, I will be available for questions in the coming week via Skype. I believe we will all agree, however, that experiencing cultural differences, experiencing them, is the best instruction. So I will share today my experiences working with Americans on multicultural projects. I will briefly discuss two topics: American cultural nuances and expectations, and the cultural challenges to project management and possible solutions. I will list briefly for you, though, the cultural nuances and expectations that I have seen interfere or create challenges and conflict on projects, especially on virtual or cultural ones. American cultural blindness. As a group, Americans lack global expertise, knowledge, and cultural competence. We assume that deep down everyone is the same, and thus we erroneously assume that everyone has the same values and motivations. Because of our cultural blindness, other groups tend to perceive us as forcing our ways upon them. In some cases, this is probably true, but in most cases, it is a result of our inability to detect and adapt to the different ways of others. We assume, like many cultures, that everyone understands ours. We think we understand cultural differences, but we have difficulty accepting them. Our cultural characteristics actually hinder our ability to adapt to other cultures. In summary, our cultural blindness inhibits our ability to see things from your perspective. It also means we are not well equipped to adapt to other cultures. In contrast, this gives us all growth opportunities, and we can learn from one another. The next topic: roles, responsibilities, and relationships. If a person's official job title is project manager, this indicates that their sole responsibility is to manage projects. If this is not the case, it indicates that the person has many other job responsibilities in addition to project management. We tend, Americans, again, to function as individuals contributing to a group, not as a true group, which means that sometimes we do not perceive shared ownership. After roles and responsibilities have been assigned, we tend to be hands-off, meaning that we expect everyone to do their job without prompting or encouragement. This also means that we hold people accountable for their share of the project work. People should be able to control unexpected events. We immediately assume that our colleagues are trustworthy and thus do not feel the need to develop relationships. We often don't recognize all of the skills and experiences of other team members. Instead, we only see who is doing what and are they getting the job done. Also, in the US, we treat people as equals to each other, including our bosses. Thus, we are comfortable challenging anyone in a position of authority. In addition, we are typically empowered to make decisions without requesting permission from a supervisor. Subsequently, we assume that everyone else is empowered in the same manner, so we are short-tempered when others need to ask for approval. In summary, American attitudes towards roles, responsibilities, and relationships make it a challenge to build strong relationships or to feel that you are all working towards a shared goal. In contrast, however, you can be comfortable knowing that we will implicitly trust you. Time. We tend to underestimate the amount of time needed to accomplish a project, typically overlooking holidays, unexpected events, personal time away from the job, bureaucracy, etc. And we perceive time as money, something that is spent or wasted and cannot be retrieved once it's lost. We tend to perceive activities such as building relationships as too time-consuming, and we do it at a very minimal level. If there are issues or challenges on a project, we nonetheless move forward as fast as possible to not waste time on resolving issues or conflicts, which subsequently can increase tension on the team. In summary, American attitudes towards time make it difficult to develop satisfying relationships, to deeply analyze issues, or resolve conflicts. In contrast, though, you will know that we share a drive to be timely and to be successful. Communications. When we converse, we expect everyone to be open and candid. When we send emails or request assistance, we expect fast responses. In written communications, we avoid details and we tend to use bullet points to express ourselves. Our written communications often include too many Americanisms, such as slang and idioms. In addition, many Americans ignore the rules of grammar and punctuation. Both of these characteristics make it difficult and time-consuming to understand our written messages. When we are on a conference call, we tend to multitask, trying to complete other activities while we are on the call. So we often seem distracted or uninterested. And lastly, we don't listen well. And this characteristic frustrates many people. In summary, American communication styles make us appear very domineering. In contrast, though, you can be assured that we said what we mean in a very straightforward manner. So, what are some of the challenges and possible solutions? Of course, you will have a project plan, so in addition to jointly agreeing upon the plan, I would also recommend 1. Establish guidelines for communicating. Who will talk to whom? When is it appropriate to follow up on activities? When is email most appropriate versus phone calls or conference calls? How will you function across time zones, and so forth? Using a team charter or a similar document at the beginning of the project to identify ways in which the team will manage conflict. This document can also include team members' expectations, which will identify some of your cultural differences and stereotypes that can be addressed before the project begins. Encouraging the use of techniques that allow project team members to build relationships. Sharing resumes, using a project management website that allows collaboration, discuss each other's strengths, sharing holiday calendars, etc. Americans may resist those last two steps, but you can present them as strategies to avoid future problems and give them examples too. Lastly, to understand how Americans typically manage cultural differences, I have a story. Imagine an elephant and a mouse sharing a small room. The elephant, the United States, is large and strong and thus does not need to pay much attention to the mouse. It moves at will and expects the mouse to adjust. In contrast, the mouse, the rest of the world, constantly monitors the elephant, frequently adjusting and moving to accommodate the elephant. However, the mouse is growing, and this perspective will change. I'm certain that you two have ideas and experiences to contribute to this session, so I look forward to hearing your questions today and certainly in the upcoming week. If you would like to know more about my experiences in interculturalism in American business and education, please contact me via Skype or email. And again, thank you so much for your interest in this topic. I wish you great professional success. Thanks.